Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. Long time no see. If you don't remember, it's Kat. And today I'm here with the life update and the channel update. It's been around 2 years since I last posted. And honestly, I was so overwhelmed because lots of things happened in my life, lots of big changes, lots of moving and starting new things, and too many things. And I felt really overwhelmed with also having to maintain a channel and an Instagram account and everything. And I'm still overwhelmed, don't get me wrong. I have too many things going on right now, but at the same time I miss this community so much, and I miss talking with you guys about books and seeing all these beautiful covers and all these beautiful stories. And it was just such an amazing experience and I want to relive it. So basically I decided to come back. And this time I'm also planning to have a TikTok account, an Instagram account, this YouTube channel. Yeah, I don't know how I'm going to balance everything, but first things first, I'm going to tell you what has been changed over the past few years. As you see, I'm in a new setting, I'm in a new house, I'm in a new country actually. I moved from Greece to Germany. Originally, I'm from Greece, as you might know, but I moved in Germany with my partner and we're living in a new house. Also, what really overwhelms me sometimes is that 2 years ago I started a PhD, and this entails lots of studying. So sometimes if my videos are late, or I don't know, it might be because I have too much studying, too much going on. Here in Germany, I'm also working part-time, but I'm still working. And I'm working on irregular schedules. My schedule changes from week to week, from day to day. I never know if I'm working for sure the next day or which time exactly I'm supposed to go to work. But I want to try to ease back into this community, and yeah, we'll see how it goes, because maintaining 3 accounts, a TikTok, Instagram and YouTube channel, yeah, I don't know, but I want to be really chill about it. Just have a platform so that I can meet more people and discuss about new books and all these exciting new releases. I have also found new genres I really like these past few years, so I'm very excited to talk about these as well. That's it, that's why I'm back, because I miss this platform. I miss being able to talk about books with everybody. I know it's middle to late February and this video might go up, even more late-ish February, but I really wanted to give you an overview of what I read in January, because, why not? But first I want to talk also about the 3 books that I bought, because it's shorter. I read more books than I bought in January, so that's a win. The downside, I haven't read any of the books that I bought, so I need to rectify this in the coming months. Here are the 3 books that I read Here are the 3 books that I hold for the month of January. The first book is one that I'm really excited about because it is a continuation of a series that I finished late 2022, and it is Dance of Thieves by Mary E. Pearson. First of all, it's floppy, and I love floppy books. It's a new addiction I have. It's the continuation of the Remnant Chronicles, a series that I read actually I had started the first book like in 2020, maybe, I don't know. I liked it very much, but I never continued with the rest of the series. And since now I'm a member of a library, so exciting, that has a few, not all, but a few books in English, I decided to loan all of the series and read them almost back to back. So I finished the Remnant Chronicles. I'm happy to admit that I like the first book more than the second and the third. Actually, the first book, I reread it, like skimming the very descriptive paragraphs and just reading, the juicy parts. What really captivated me, which I actually realized upon my reread, was that plot twist. Actually, it had like 2 plot twists back to back. I liked this element of surprise that was in the first book. It was amazing, that gives me. Basically, that's what I love the most about the first book. But the second and third, the second book, we met completely new characters, we were in a completely new setting. It felt like a completely different book than the first one. And then the third, I felt like it dragged a little bit. Anyway, I'm not here to talk about the Remnant Chronicles. I just wanted to say that I bought Dance of Thieves. I'm meeting to buy the second book in the series, but I promised myself that I will first read all the first books in series I have in my bookshelf before buying new ones. Because it's getting out of hand. I don't have a bookshelf, I only have this part that I'm going to show you perhaps in another video. It's too small, honestly, but anyway. Then I bought Once Upon a Broken Heart by Stephanie Gerber. This is also a continuation sequel series, just like Dance of Thieves. I think you can read them on their own, but I have heard that you have to keep up with a lot of world building if you want to read this without the Caraval series, which is the first series in this world. But honestly, I saw this cover and I was like, ugh. Honestly, I haven't finished the Caraval series yet, but I have read the first book like so many years ago, I think in 2016. I loved the first book. It went into my favorite books of the year that year. And I still remember it very fondly to this day, and I want, realistically, to continue the series. Also, my library has all 3 books, but all of the time one of the books in the series, in the trilogy, is loaned out, so I can never find all 3 of them to loan them and read them back to back, or however I manage to read them. I plan to take them home when I found all 3 of them. Then I can read this book, so I bought it a little bit early. And lastly, I bought The Golem and the Genie actually, by Helen Waker. I don't know if I'm butchering these names, I hope I'm not, but anyway, you get the gist. This is also a floppy book that I saw and I just had to buy it. I've heard good things about this, not, anything too exciting. This actually I found in Greece. I don't know what this is about because I like going into my books blind. Basically, it has a golem, it has a genie, or not, we'll see. I will let you know how that goes. So now on to the books I read in the month of January. So the first book I read actually 1st of January, it was The Magic Fish. This is a graphic novel. It was a little bit heavy for my taste and for the first night of the year. It dealt with family bonds and how acceptance by family is so important and so precious when it does happen. It also dealt with immigration and it hit a little bit too close to home. A very precious novel. I recommend it. Then we have Wrapped Up in You by Talia Hibbert. I actually picked up this book because I loved Talia's Hibbert Get a Life Chloe Brown book, which is the first book in a trilogy of contemporary romance novels. And I loved her writing style, so I thought, this is a novella, it's a Christmas novella, why not read it during the Christmas holidays? It was good. It wasn't like anything too exciting. It was too short, to actually connect with any of the characters. But it was good passing of time. Basically, it had a good writing style. Yeah, it was just that. It was good. Then I read The Agathas by Kathleen Glasgow and Liz Lawson. This was a very good book. I liked it a lot. It actually gave me vibes of A Good Girl's Guide to Murder, which is a book that I love. This is a YA mystery. It was really good. There was a murder, yes. A couple of people had to solve the murder. It was a little bit thrilling at some point. I felt like, oh, what's going to happen now? It looks a little bit scary. I mean, I'm a scaredy cat, but yeah. What pulled me a little bit off the story, it was the fact that at some point it felt a little bit unrealistic how they would get a confession or somebody to just talk about the murder and what happened, and yeah, a little bit unrealistic in contrast with A Good Girl's Guide to Murder, which felt like really realistic. A very enjoyable read, very enjoyable. Then I read 3 more graphic novels, the latest release in the Goldie Vance series of graphic novels. It was good, nothing like the first 2 graphic novels, which were amazing in this series. But it was good. It is basically about a teen detective that goes on to solve some crimes and some mysteries. Pretty good. I didn't love the illustrations, I think, or the storyline as much as, in the previous novels, but still it was really good. Then I read King of Nowhere, which basically I just read because I found it, I had access to it. I wanted to read it for a prompt of a challenge, so yeah. I didn't really like it. I didn't like the illustrations. I didn't like the story was okay. The story was okay. It was a little bit science fiction-y, a little bit dystopian for my taste, but yeah. I just needed to get it read, basically. Then I read Skyward, the 2nd volume. This, again, I didn't like as much as I liked the 1st volume in the series. I don't know why. Maybe it's because I had allowed too much time to pass from the first novel to the second. I don't know. Not bad, but not anything too exciting either. And then I went to Greece, and there I decided to not bring any of the books I had already with me and to just focus on the reads that I have in my bookshelves there. In about 1.5 weeks, I managed to read 3 books. Finally, after many years of trying to finish the series, I finished the Bloodline series by Rachel Mead. More specifically, I read The Ruby Circle, which is the 6th and final book. Why did the series need to be 6 books long? I never know, I will never understand, but yeah, it dragged a little bit. The only exciting thing about this book was that it made me finish the series. Which is not saying much about the book, but anyway. I also loved the fact that Rose and Dimitri were there, which are my favorite characters from the Vampire Academy series. And basically what I didn't say about the Bloodline series is that it is the sequel series to the Vampire Academy series. So it takes place in the same world, the same characters, but the protagonists change. The Vampire Academy series, it's Rose and Dimitri and Lisa and a few others. In the Bloodline series, it's Adrian, Sydney, Jill, Eddie. Eddie is also in the Vampire Academy series, but he has a more frontal role in the Bloodline series. I just like the fact that I finally finished the series. I can't say too much about it because spoilers, and I don't remember anything about the first book at this point. I don't even know when I started it. It's been a lot of years. Finally, I'm done with this series. Then I read the Fruits Basket fan book, Cat. I don't know what this title is, but yeah. And this is a companion novel to the Fruits Basket series. I haven't read the series, the Fruits Basket series. I haven't watched the show. So yeah, I went into it just because I had bought it. And I thought it was part of the series, but it was actually a companion novel. But it actually intrigued me a lot into going into the series, which is what matters. Then I read Truthwits, which is the first book in the Witchlands series. And basically it made me realize once again that I'm not in the mood for YA fantasy. I don't know why. This book is basically about... What is it about?
2 hours later.
It's basically about 2 witches being on the run. We learn more about their background. I loved the magic system in this. It was very unique. It had many different types of witches. A truth witch, a blood witch, a thread witch, I think. I liked a little bit the romantic element of this book, but the rest I was like reading impatiently, waiting to finish the book. I don't know. Maybe the book didn't really pull me in, or maybe I wasn't in the mood for YA fantasy. It wasn't a bad written book in any way. I think I'm just not in the mood for YA fantasy at the moment. So yeah, I'm not the best person to give you an update, to give you a review on this book. So yeah, the only book that I carried on from here to Greece was an audiobook of the 22 Murders of Madison May. This was actually a very interesting read. It had a little bit of sci-fi, jumping between parallel worlds. Very, very interesting. I mean, I actually read it in 2 listening sittings. Madison May is not the protagonist. She's the person that gets killed, like the 22 murders of Madison May, and a journalist that tries to prevent the murder, jumping behind the killer in every dimension or parallel world. What was very exciting about this book was the way that it described this jumping from world to world and the consequences. I love the fact that there were consequences. When you jumped forward, there was no way you could jump back to the previous world you were in. So for the people that were there, you just vanished in the middle of the night or in the middle of the day. I don't know. They know you're missing. It's not like you stop to exist, but yeah, I don't know. I loved this so much. I liked how it was handled, that there are consequences for everything in this book. It had me on my edge of my seat at many points. I read it all over the place and still I was able to concentrate. So a very exciting read. I love the audiobook mainly, but I'm sure that I would love the, physical form as well. The final book I read in January was Four Dead Queens. This is a book that I loaned from the library. It was like in the middle of YA and adult fantasy. It felt like reading a fantasy novel because of the setting and the queen aspect, but also it was basically a murder mystery. The protagonist had to solve the murder of the 4 dead queens and see what happened, how it happened, what's going to happen now. A very impressive book. I read some chapters from the book I loaned from the library, but I also had the audiobook because I felt like the audiobook pulled me in more than actually reading it. It was very good, both the audiobook and the actual story. I liked it a lot. It wasn't like my best read of January, but I liked it a lot. So basically that's all that I read in January. It was a very good reading month. I don't think I particularly fell in love with anything I read this month. Just a good reading month in that I finished some of the books I had to read from my physical TBR. So before closing the video, I wanted to give you a reading update. So I'm reading these 2 books, The Fifth Season by N.K. Jemisin. This book has taken me a while. Actually, yeah, this is wrong. I'm more like towards the end. This has taken me a while to get into, but I found the audiobook and it's a life changer, honestly. It has too much of a difficult terminology. It is a completely sci-fi and fantasy setting, so you have to be there. You have to be there at all times to understand what's going on. If my mind drifted for a little bit while listening to the audiobook, I was like, oh no, I have to go back to understand what's going on because I'm lost. I know that I don't have a lot of time left in the audiobook, but I don't know how much it amounts in the book. But I have a reading vlog that I'm currently filming and you'll see the rest there. So far, my feelings are a little bit neutral. Let's see if that changes by the end of the book. So keep an eye out for the reading vlog. It should come out soon. I'm currently reading Seas and Storm by Leigh Bardugo. This is the 2nd book in the Greaseverse trilogy. Shadow and Bone is the 1st book. I read it, I think, a couple of months ago. I loved it. It felt like it was a pure YA fantasy. In some level, I don't know how to explain it. But then I actually found a TikTok, I think, that mentioned that this was the trendsetter. Shadow and Bone was the book that started the love of the public for this genre. It felt like the first years of reading YA fantasy. It brought that love back to me and I will love it forever for that. Honestly, I have heard that Aline is a little bit annoying for a lot of people. For me, she wasn't. I mean, I didn't agree with all of her choices all the time, but also I didn't see them as completely, out of the blue or outrageous or anything. I'm in the second book right now. I'm in chapter 10. I finally met a new character that I've heard a lot about. I'm trying to avoid spoilers, so I don't know exactly what's going on with this character, but I know he's a famous bookocraze for lots of people. So yeah, I can't wait to see what's going on. This is also a book from the library. That's why it's in that shape. A great read so far. It took me a while there with the battles, but now I'm hooked. I'm actually looking forward to finish with this video so that I can go back to reading it. So basically that's it. I just wanted to say I'm back and also give you a brief overview of how 2023 started for me, book-wise. I also have lots of studying, lots of work this week as well. But yeah, see you in the next video. Thank you so much for watching.